First and foremost, all praises are due to Yahweh Bashim Hawashai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth. Salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth who are teaching this word in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel who listen and believe in this word. This is Brother Kawat Sabad coming at you with another lesson. This one is entitled, The Army of the Horsemen Are the Nuclear Missiles. We're going to start off with Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 1. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 1. You see it says prophecies about Babylon. That was referring to a future prophecy that Isaiah seen about Babylon, which is America. So Babylon, when it says Babylon here, it's talking about the future America, the present day America that we're in now. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. So he's seen this in his visions, okay? He was a prophet. Isaiah 13 and verse 2. Lift up ye a banner upon the high mountains, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Let's read on the right-hand side, the NLT version of that. Raise a signal flag on a bare hilltop. Call up an army against Babylon. Wave your hand to encourage them as they march into the palaces of the high and mighty. And we know the Yahweh is the Lord of hosts, or the Lord of the armies. And part of his army is going to be the nuclear missiles that Russia and the other nations are going to be sending to Babylon, America. Okay? It's going to put Babylon, America into a lake of fire, along with the laser fire coming from the chariots on the day of the Lord. So this is what this is talking about. The mighty army is going to be the army of nuclear missiles that are going to fill the skies of Babylon, America. Let's continue on. Isaiah 13 and verse 3. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. You see, Yahweh is the Lord of armies, the Lord of the heavenly armies, and the Lord of the earthly armies. So everything is being dictated by what he wants. Isaiah 13 and verse 3, the NLT version. I, the Lord, have dedicated these soldiers for this task. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger, and they will rejoice when I am exalted. So all the nuclear missiles are going to have a singular purpose. Wherever he wants them to go, they're going to go. Let's read verse 4, Isaiah 13 and verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. Let's read the NLT version on the right-hand side, verse 4, Isaiah 13, 4, the NLT version. Hear the noise on the mountains. Listen as the vast armies march. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord of heaven's armies has called this army together. You see? So the vast army is going to be the Russia and the other nations around the world sending nuclear missiles to Babylon, America to destroy it. You see? Isaiah 13, and let's read verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Now, indignation means the righteous judgment of the Lord Yahweh. You see? Let's read Isaiah 13 in verse 5, the NLT version. They come from distant countries. They're going to come from Russia and the other nations, India, Iran, even the Babylon's allies are going to send bombs. Babylon's allies from NATO and the European Union, they're going to send nuclear missiles. They come from distant countries from beyond the farthest horizons. They are the Lord's weapons to carry out his anger. With them, he will destroy the whole land. That's Babylon, America. It's going to be it's actually going to be a lake of fire. You see, it's going to be uninhabitable afterwards. After the fire dies down, nothing's going to inhabit this land but animals and reptiles and wild beasts and things of that nature. So let's continue on. Let's go Isaiah 13 and verse 6. You see it says here, judgment on the day of the Lord. Isaiah 13 and verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty Yahweh. Isaiah 13 and verse 7. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. It's going to paralyze a lot of people. Now, those of us in this truth as Hebrew Israelites that have been doing our best to rehearse the righteous acts, that have been watching, being circumspect, being attentive to what's going on through the spirit, the Rakak Wadash, listening to lessons, particularly lessons from Great Millstone and their affiliates, because Great Millstone has 100% truth. Those of us that have been on the ball and preparing our minds mentally and spiritually for this, it's not going to paralyze us. We're going to be waiting. We want this to happen. But those of our people that are part of the 2/3 that didn't hearken to the prophets, the apostles, the teachers, the ministers, the evangelists, that didn't listen to this word, they're going to be paralyzed with fear, you see, as well as the Esau, okay, the Edomites, so-called white man, the wicked, or adversary, the devil, as well as the other nations, okay, that are here in Babylon, America. And if you're not part of the 1/3 elect, and you're not extracted into those chariots, okay, you're gonna be destroyed. Isaiah 13 and verse 8. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Their faces are going to have fear on them, you see. I'm not saying that those of us that are part of the hopeful elect, the 1/3 hopeful elect, being Hebrew Israelites, okay, that we're not going to have some anxiety, because of course you are. But deep down inside, we know this day was coming. Okay, so, our minds have been prepared for this day to come. If we're here on that day, some of us may die in the faith, okay, and then some of us may be here on the day of the Lord to witness this. I hope I'm here to witness this, and I hope I get extracted into the chariots, Lord willing. Isaiah 13 and verse 9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, Babylon, America, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So if you haven't hearkened to this word, if you're still, thinking that America, Babylon is great, if you're still down with the image, okay, of the beast and their doctrines, and, you believe in men with men and women with women, that's all right. My cousin, he cool. If you believe in that shit, you're still doing holidays, you're still, calling on Jesus, okay, as part of the 2/3, okay, you're going to be destroyed, point blank, because you haven't hearkened to the word. You haven't shown any type of remorse or repented and converted for your sins and put off the old man. Now, we're not perfect, even, those of us in this truth, but you're to strive for perfection to the best of your ability. You're to try to make your calling and election, okay, sure, to the best of your ability. Leave no stone unturned. Let's continue on Isaiah 13 in verse 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. You see, that's talking about there's going to be so many nuclear weapons, nuclear missiles in the sky that's going to darken out, okay, the moon. It's going to darken out the sun. It's going to be a lot of smoke and fire. You see, that's how many nuclear missiles are going to be in the sky. It's going to be like 200,000 times 10, if you can imagine that. And they're going to look like arrows, in the sky. And they're going to blacken out everything. Isaiah 13, and we have here verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. We know the wicked is Esau, Edom, the white man, the devil, our adversary, okay? And also we have wicked Hebrew Israelites, part of the 2/3 that haven't hearkened to this word. They're going to be destroyed as well. They're going to be punished as well. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Now we know Esau is very proud, okay? This damn devil's very proud, our adversary. He thinks that nothing's going to come, is going to harm him, that America is bulletproof, as well as some of our people are very arrogant. Some of our people who are Hebrew Israelites, even those in the truth, okay, that are, so-called, call themselves Hebrew Israelites, and they're in the truth, but some of them are very proudful. You have a lot of pride and are haughty and, still doing wicked, despite knowing that they're Hebrew Israelites. Let's continue on Isaiah 13. Let's go to another precept, Jeremiah chapter 50. Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 9. And it reads as such. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. And the main country that's going to be coming after the U.S., okay, Babylon, America, is going to be Russia, you see? And you're going to have, of course, Iran, Turkey, Syria, Iraq, those Middle Eastern countries. They're going to be coming after America, you see? All right? And Russia is in that area, you see? In the Medes and Persians in the Old Testament, you have the Medes and the Persians, okay, that put us into captivity after the Babylonians. That area is now modern day Russia, all right? Okay? So that's where modern day Russia resides. So they're going to be the main ones coming after Babylon, America. And like it says here, their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, meaning the nuclear missiles, and none shall return in vain. They're going to hit their mark, okay? Just like Yahweh wants them to, because he controls he's the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies. He controls everything that's going on, even the direction of the nuclear missiles. Let's continue on. Let's go to another precept. Let's go to Joel chapter 2. And we have here verse 1. Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. And it reads as such. It says here, the devastation of locusts. Now you have to understand that when the prophets were given these visions in the Old Testament, they seen these nuclear missiles. But the only way they could describe them was in terms of the language that they had in Hebrew. Okay, they couldn't describe them as that's a nuclear missile. They described them in various forms based on what they were seeing, that they seen these missiles, but of course these missiles are not going to come upon the scene until 2,000 years later. So they didn't have any language to describe them but their own language. You see, what they seen in their own minds, according to what they knew during that time, 2,000 years ago or so. So Joel 1, excuse me, that's the wrong one. Joel 2, but that still was a good example there. Joel 2 in verse 1 says here the terrible visitation. Joel 2 verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. We know Zion represents Jerusalem. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Now, in addition to Babylon, America being destroyed, okay, the current day or the modern day Israel will also be hit by nuclear weapons that Russia's going to send that way. You see? All right. Now, that land is going to be hit hard, but it's not going to be uninhabitable like Babylon, America is going to be. Okay. Of course, the Israelites, the one-third elect of the Hebrew Israelites that get extracted into those chariots, after the fire dies down, they're going to come back down, okay, along with Yahushua and 144,000, and he's going to establish his kingdom as King of Kings and Lord of Lords in Israel and Jerusalem, okay? So let's continue. Let's read this again. Joel 2 and verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, which is Jerusalem, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. And we know it is nigh at hand right now. We're very, very close. Let's continue on. Joel 2 and verse 2. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There hath not been ever like there hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. So this army is talking about the nuclear missiles again. Okay, there has been nothing like it, and there will be nothing like it ever again. All right, because this is the final battle. Okay, all right, let's continue on. Joel 2, verse 3. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. Joel 2 and verse 4. Now, like I said, this is the part I was talking about where the prophets can only describe the nuclear missiles in the language in which they knew 2,000 years ago. They didn't say, oh, this is an ICBM missile. This is a hypersonic missile. They didn't have that language. So they described them in which the way they could describe them, all right, with the language of their time. Joel 2 and verse 4. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Let's give an example of that. You see here? Joel 2 and verse 4. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as a horseman, so shall they run. So when Joel seen this vision, the prophet, he's seen them as horses, you see, running in the sky, you see, all right? And pretty much, when they describe vehicles, okay, they say horsepower, don't they? All right? Which equates to the amount of horses that the engine, is capable of having. So when they say horsepower, it's describing horses, okay? How many horses would you have that would power the car? You see what I'm saying? So let's continue on. Let's go back. Sorry about that. Okay. So Joel 2, and let's read verse 4 again. Joel 2 and verse 4. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the lesson says, the army of the horsemen are the nuclear missiles. Joel 2 and verse 5. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains, shall they leap. like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Wow. Let's read Joel 2 and verse 5, the NLT version on the right hand side. Look at them as they leap along the mountaintops. Listen to the noise they make, like the rumbling of chariots, like the roar of fire sweeping across a field of stubble, or like a mighty army moving into battle. So you can imagine what Joel was seeing. Him and many of the prophets, they all had pretty much not the same vision, but similar visions. So imagine what they were feeling in seeing this vision of these nuclear missiles and the noise of it and the fire. Okay, imagine how they felt. So imagine how we're going to feel, whether we're one-third elect, okay, they get extracted into the chariots. And like the scripture says, the righteous shall scarcely make it, okay, out of the day of the Lord. So imagine those who don't make it, the 2/3 of the Hebrew Israelites who didn't hearken to the word, the Edomites, so-called white man, the devil, our adversary, as well as the sons of men, the other nations that are here in Babylon, America. So imagine how they're going to feel. You see? Joel 2 in verse 6. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. So that's fear. The fear, you can't even imagine that fear. You see? Joel 2 and verse 7. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. This is describing the nuclear missiles. And they shall march every one on his ways. And they shall not break their ranks. You see? This is an army that's being controlled by Yahweh the Most High. So every missile has an appointed target, and he's directing it to hit the target as ordered. You see? Joel 2 and verse 8. Neither shall one thrust another. So that means they're not going to even bump into each other. They're not even going to bump into each other. They're going to be on point. You see? They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So they're not going to break their defenses. They're not going to miss a step. They're going to go exactly where they're supposed to go as ordered by Yahweh. Joel 2 and verse 9. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. So Babylon, America is going to be destroyed, man. These nuclear missiles are going to be everywhere. It's going to be a lake of fire. There's going to be no escaping. No escaping. Joel 2 and verse 10. Unless you're part of the 1/3 elect, okay, as a Hebrew Israelite, so-called Black, Latino, and Native American. All right? Joel 2, verse 10. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Like I said, it's going to be so many missiles in the sky that, the sun's going to be, can't see the sun. The moon's not going to be seen. It's going to be fire and smoke. The stars aren't going to be seen. Joel 2 and verse 11. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Okay, who can survive it? Okay, they're going to follow his orders, you see. Let's get another precept. Let's go to, and we'll be finishing up with this one here. A couple more verses. Let's go to Revelation chapter 9. Revelation chapter 9, and we have verse 12. And it reads as such. 9 verse 12. And this is, of course, John, the apostle John. He was the last apostle to survive. All right, he was exiled by the Roman government on the island of Patmos. I believe he was in his 90s, and this was circa 90 A.D. somewhere during that time. And he, of course, he was given the vision by Yahushua through an angel, okay, of Babylon, America being destroyed, etc. Okay, he was given many visions. Revelation 9 and verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more after. That's talking about the first woe was World War One. Then the next two woes were of course World War II, which happened, and then the last World War, which will be World War III, which is going to be coming upon us very soon. That's what that scripture is talking about. Okay, the first terror is past, but look, two more terrors are coming, as the NLT version says. Let's continue. Revelation 9 and verse 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, before Yahweh. Verse 14. Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. You see? Now, these four angels are, okay, this is going to be like the angels that were being held back. And they were held back. If you go to Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4, Yahweh, told the angels, okay, in so many words, to hold back, these four angels, to hold back until he sealed a mark in the foreheads of the righteous, the 1/3 elect, you see? But here is where the angels are going to be loosed, you see? And that's going to be, of course, the nuclear missiles coming from Russia and the other nations. And of course, along with that, you're going to have Yahushua and the chariots coming down. Okay, and they're going to be also giving out laser fire from the chariots. So, okay, once that sixth angel comes, the four angels are going to be loosed. You see, those nuclear missiles are going to be ordered to do their thing. Okay, Revelation 9 and verse, let's go to verse 15. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, in a day, in a month, in a year, for to slay the third part of men. You see, that's going to be the day of the Lord. A lot of people are going to die. And most of the damage is going to come here in Babylon, America. You see, like I said, Israel will be hit as well. And there may be a couple other parts around the world. But the main destruction is going to be Babylon, America. If you're not in the chariots as part of the 1/3 elect of Israel, okay, the Hebrew Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're going to be destroyed. So that's going to include 2/3 of our people that didn't hearken to the word. Also, like I said, your Edomites, so-called white men, the devil, our adversary, as well as the sons of men, the other nations that are here in Babylon, America. Revelation 9 and verse 16, it reads as such. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. You see? Let's read here Revelation 9 and verse 16 on the right-hand side. And it reads as such. This is the NLT version. I heard the size of their army, which is the nuclear missiles, which was 200 million mounted troops. So it's going to be over 200 million nuclear missiles in the sky. That's why the sun's going to be blackened out. The moon isn't going to show her light. The stars. 200 million missiles. You see? Like the lesson says, the army of the horsemen are the nuclear missiles. You see? Let's see something here. If I can get this real quick again to give that visual. See here? All right. This is verse 17. I'm going to read it. Revelation 9 and 17. And you see here the image of the lion, okay? Let's read Revelation 9 and verse 17, because it kind of goes with what I had read before. Revelation 9, verse 17. And thus I saw the horses in the vision. This is what John, the apostle, saw on the island of Patmos. And them that sat on them. You see? So he saw the horses in the vision, which were the nuclear missiles, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone. So that's talking about the nuclear warheads, okay, in front, and then of course the fire in back of them. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. So that's the nuclear warheads, okay? All right. So what John seen, when he visualized it as a lion, okay? Okay, as the heads of horses, okay, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. That's what he visualized it as, okay? All right? And he's seen the fire and the smoke and the brimstone coming out of the heads, the nuclear warheads of the nuclear missiles. All right, so the army of the horsemen are the nuclear missiles. Okay, literally. Okay, they're going to be coming on the day of the Lord. All praises due to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for that. So on that note, I hope this lesson was edifying to you. And I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakakwadash, Shalom.